Hey everyone, caught me in the middle of a sip of coffee. We're here today, and thank you all for being here. I see we got a bunch of comments already, a bunch of people already here in the stream. We are here today doing a live, and I'm going to be talking about my learning curve with the fiber laser. So I had now it's probably about a year old. I have the 20-watt Raycus source. It's in the back, it's behind that 3D printer, but you can't see it from here. I do have another camera angle that I'll bring up in a moment when we start doing the testing. But I want to tell you that the first couple of weeks, it was all trying to figure out how to get everything aligned. And that was probably the hardest part for me, was watching all of the YouTube videos and getting all of the bad advice. And so I wanted to make this video today to talk about maybe better advice. Once you've already got it mechanically set up, you know, where you've got your framing set up and you know what your focus is and all that kind of good stuff, then it's time to actually try and figure out how to use it. And the fiber laser is, as some of you already know, or many of you already know, I know there's probably new users here and there's probably experienced users here that are far more experienced than I am, but it's a combination of getting the right speed, the right power, and the right frequency. And you can use the same speed and power and just change the frequency and get completely different results. And that's what we're here to talk about today. And we're going to talk about some examples. And just to get started, without actually running the laser yet, I want to show you my little business card adventure here, and just a whole bunch of different business cards that I did. So each one of these business cards is a different speed, frequency, and power, as you can see there. And what I was looking for was more gradients. And I went through a whole bunch of these trying to find my whites. And I know they don't show up really great on camera, but this is pretty much what you have to do. Trying to find my white, trying to find my, and I don't have the white card that I finally did find, but I was looking for the golds and the yellows, and this is how I did it. So it's just a lot of testing that goes on, and you have to build a library, and that is the key to getting this done properly. You have to have and I use Lightburn, so I had to build a Lightburn library. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to be showing you examples from my library. We also have a guest host here today who's waiting in the green room, and that is Patrick from Light Source Engraving. And I want to say that, and I have his little magnet right here on my computer right next to me. I want to say that Patrick is the source. A year ago, I met Patrick a while back, and he invited me to be on another channel, and we worked a little bit together, and I started watching his videos, and that is how I got to the point that I'm at now, where I figured out that you got to have a library, you got to do a whole bunch of testing, and I really didn't have many things that I needed to do. I had the 100-watt over at the other shop that I do my AANA coins on. That's a 100-watt JPT, and I have this 20-watt Raycus behind me. So the Raycus is the one we're going to be using today. And I only had a couple things that I was doing. I was doing business cards, which you saw how I got those settings. I was doing some keychains, some pens. You know, I had like 6 or 7 things that I was making for people, and plus those coins that I make, and that's it. So now I've started developing the library a little bit more, and that's what today's stream is going to be about. And Patrick is here in the green room, so let's go ahead and bring him in and welcome Patrick from Lightsource Engraving. Hey, Patrick, what's going on, buddy?
How's it going? How's everybody doing today?
It is going good. I wanted to just thank you because you have helped me, or your videos, not you personally, your videos have helped me to get started in this with multiple materials. And it's such a long learning curve when you're doing that completely on your own without any help, which is how I started. And then finding somebody who's willing to share a library with me, even though it's not, the library you shared with me was for a 30 watt and I have a 20 watt, it still gave me a starting point where I can then go in and, you know, change frequencies and speeds and powers and all that kind of stuff on my own. And that really, I want to thank you for that, because that really helped me out a lot. And Patrick does have a channel on YouTube, and that is LSE Engraving. So it's down there on the bottom of the screen. And he also has a website, lightsource.pro, and he also has a Discord channel. I'm not personally a fan of Discord. I have no idea how to use it, and it completely confuses me. But
and the Discord's branded the Laser Maker's Realm.
Laser Maker's Realm, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Patrick is also my guest host, along with Steve. Hey, Steve, I know you're out there in the comment section. Patrick is also a guest host with Steve. The three of us do a channel called the Laser Maker's Realm. And every other Sunday, we do a video where we make things and give you free files to download. So you might want to check that out as well. And I also want to say, I want to give some credit also to Geo, which is where a lot of this stuff comes from. So Geo is a tech guy, and he's doing file conversions for different lasers. And in fact, right before this stream, he emailed me a file conversion for a few different things for the 20 watt Raycus. So I had already done the testing. It was a little bit too late. I already got some of my settings dialed in, but Geo is a big help, and he's sort of like the I guess the master of conversion, we call it, right, Patrick?
Yeah, that's I like that. That's a good term.
Yeah. So he's doing all of the conversion going on here, and let me show you my screen in Lightburn, and let me just get rid of this brand up in the top corner, and maybe we should go full screen instead. So this is what I've got on my in my Lightburn file for this video, and you see there's a bunch of stuff in here. So I've got a large blue one up top here. That is for a slate. We're going to do all these projects today. And then I've got a 304 stainless steel luggage tag over here. These two in the gold color are both anodized aluminum. They are the little flasks that you put alcohol in. Down on the bottom, I've got somebody that I do business card. I've changed all of the names and phone numbers to protect the innocent down here. But it is the City of Gonzales Parks Department in Texas, and I do his metal business cards. And so I'm going to do one of those with different names. Then I've got over here, this one over here is a friend of mine that's got a convenience store. It's going to be running a contest, and it's a $50 coupon. This down here, we originally started with the steel blanks and didn't like those, so we went up here to the brass blanks. We'll do both of those so you can see it. Then I've got another steel blank in a different color that I'll be doing with that Louisiana logo. And of course, I've got this little tiny little dog tag. And some of the stuff is really, really small, but the dog tags are coming from a website called Chewbacca. So it is a really interesting website name. I like the fact that everything is made right here in the United States. I believe they're in Pennsylvania, and their prices are not bad, and it's a really high quality dog tag. You'll get to see that in a moment. So these are the projects that we're going to run today, and we're going to run these projects. I did add another camera in the back of the shop, and I'll be going back and forth, that you can see right here, and that is the work bed of the 20 watt. And all of the products that I'm making today should fit in that screen. So what I'm going to do is get started. Let me put that camera up here. Does that look okay, Patrick?
Yeah, it does. Hey, and I wanted to just hold this up real quick, just since you were talking about test grids.
Yeah.
I just pulled the cover off of my grill so I could run test grids when I was testing collars. And yeah, it's lots and lots of time spent testing to develop a library for your particular laser.
Yep. And to take that a step further, it's just you have to have a bunch of different materials as well. And I was talking with Patrick the other day and telling him about my my tin, just a regular sheet of tin, the results that I got on the tin. And I know you can't see these really good, but I've got some blues and some dark blues. And I started doing a picture with the wrong LPI, and it just didn't come out right, but it bent the metal. It was way too hot. But the testing is the most important thing. This is just a regular piece of tin, and a lot of people like tin because you can shape it, and you can stamp it, and you can cut it, and you can make things out of it. And you know, so this is another example of what Patrick's talking about, is just lots and lots of testing. And you can even take scrap metal that you've got, like this piece right here, and do some testing on it. And this is the top of a stainless steel, what do you call that? A little table jack that stopped working. So I took the top off and I ran some tests on here. And you can see I got some numbers and some settings for brown, for white, for blue, for gray. Just an old scrap piece of metal. So you can do testing on all kinds of stuff, and most of the products that I'm going to talk about are going to be from Amazon. So let's bring that camera over here real quick. And Patrick, if you want to continue a little, I'm going to go turn on my air extraction and get the first project loaded onto the workbench.
All right, sounds good. Let's see. I'm just going to read through the comments here. Jeremy,
this might get a little noisy, by the way.
Jeremy's running out of room for all the testing. Yeah, I've got run into the same problem.
I can't hear you back here, so.
Okay. My favorite thing to test, and my wife loves it too, are the stainless steel pots and pans in the house. They're all marked up and decorated. It's a really good test for seeing if those collars rust too. So yeah, I highly recommend that. Let's see, there's folks from all over. That's so cool. But if you guys have any questions, ask them in the comments, and I'll answer them, or Rich will answer them, and we'll make sure that we get everything covered.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should show you on the Lightburn screen first. And let me put that in full screen. The first project that we're going to do today is, let's see, what did I just put on there? I believe I put the steel blank on there. Let me just check it. No, I put the brass blank on there. Okay, so first one that we're going to do today is the brass blank. And these are available on Amazon. They're pretty cheap. And so what we'll do is we'll do my friend's coin over here that he wants to do a raffle in a convenience store. And that's the reason that we're doing this. So now I've got this set on a layer over here, cuts and layers. And you see here my library. I've got the Fiber 2110 in here. And down in here, I've got all of the stuff that I've edited, as well as all of the things that Patrick gave me. This used to be a 30-watt library, and I've edited many of these settings. And up here, these are the settings that I got. So if we find this one, if I come in here and find this one, it is this one. Yep, right here. So let me show you the settings on this, because a lot of the videos that you're watching online, you don't get to see the settings. And let's go through them really quickly. So on the first layer, this is a multi-layer job. I've got the speed at 250, power at 95, and the frequency at 20. On the second layer, I've got the same thing. The only difference is the scan angle is -45 versus the first layer, which is 45. So it's just a reverse scan angle, and they're both in 500 LPI. And then I want a nice line after. So I've got this line at 285 power, 4 passes, and 60 kilohertz. So those are the settings for this particular project right here. So let me take that off the screen real quick and put this one on. There we go. And I'm going to go to the laser tab and hit frame. And now you can see that we've got the boundary there. And let me make sure real quickly that I've got the right one. I don't have the right one. So I'm going to take this one off and put the other one on, because this is the final version. Sorry about that. Excuse me. So I'm going to frame that one. There we go. That's the final version. So now you can see it's not in the right spot. I'm going to hold the control key. And I have set my nudge moving with the control in the settings to 0.5 millimeters. So I'm going to hold control and nudge it over a little bit to get it in the right spot. And I think that right about there looks good. Come down a little bit. And that is looking pretty close to good. Pretty close to good. How's that? That's a good one right there. So now that I've got it framed, go ahead, Patrick.
I was going to say, with the adoption of Lightburn Galvo for folks coming from EasyCAD, the live framing and being able to nudge was, I think, the greatest features ever.
I agree.
And with the most recent release, you can actually resize while it's framing with the page up and page down keys.
Yep. What I like about this is with Lightburn, I have this camera that you're looking at right now on a 21-inch screen. So I can get the framing absolute. And now for this video, I'm not worried about anything being framed properly. But on that 21-inch screen, when at the 0.5 millimeter movements with the control button, the control key, I mean, I can really dial this in.
Yep, I think I have my arrow set to 0.1, control 0.5, and shift as 1.
Yeah. Yep.
That way I can fine tune it.
So I'm not quite sure why nothing is coming out on there yet. And it looks like I've got something wrong here. Oh, you know what?
Focus.
I don't think it was the brass coin. Nope. I'm pretty sure that was the steel coin. So I'm going to rerun this real quick. I should have practiced this. Let me see. Let me take the brass coin off. And I need to find the steel coins. And of course I can't find the steel coins.
Well,
Just hang on 1 second, because I will. You know what? I'll put one of the steel coins on here instead.
It's Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
And
I know all about that when it comes to live streams.
Let me get out of focus and back into focus. And it wasn't a focus problem. It was just picking the wrong coin, I guess.
Material settings match up.
Let me put one on here that says in the description steel blank, so I know which one I'm doing. All right, put that in the middle and frame it. And now I'll get that into position. We'll give this another run. I think that looks pretty good right there. So now on this one, this is plain steel. I'm doing a white engraving on this.
Yeah, now we're seeing something. Just shows the importance of having the right settings for the right material.
Exactly. Yeah, that did nothing on the brass, but it would probably do wonders on the steel. I'm going to figure these out. Don't worry about it as we go. So this is just a regular steel blank. Just costs a few cents. You get a whole package of like 70 of them on Amazon. I did wish I bought the ones without the hole in them, though. And this is a really complex design here, by the way, on such a small coin. The coin is really, really small. So there you go. You can get an idea. Let me move it off the spot so you can see it a little bit better. How's that?
Yep. Louisiana Purchase.
Louisiana Purchase, 1812.
1812.
And yeah, so I think that came out really nice. And I do have a couple other settings for this one, but let's switch to a different material real quick. And the reason why I've got this here, I learned that, you know, if you don't do this right, you will etch your base. So I have something behind it. Let's put this back on here and reset the focus.
No matter how careful I am, it's only a matter of time before the base gets marked.
I couldn't hear you. Sorry, what'd you say?
I said, no matter how careful I am, it's only a matter of time before your base gets marked.
Yeah.
It'll stay nice and new, and then next thing you know, oh man, did I just do that?
Yep. Yeah, well, I use that extra piece now so I don't screw everything up. So we are going to do an admit one token. I'm going to put that in the middle of the screen. And actually, I need to move this down a little bit. And one thing that I've also noticed is that it's important to use that P key and get your project centered directly in the middle, especially on larger products, because the laser is strongest at the middle. So here is my admit one token. So let me get that moved into position, which is right about there. That looks about right. And it looks like something changed on this layer. So this is having the same problem as the other one. I don't know. I may have set something else on that layer by mistake. Or maybe what I should do is just go back and okay, brass coins. I'm going to go back to my
reassign the setting.
Yeah, I'm going back to my library and reassigning the settings to this one. Assign it. I'm going to stop that job and restart it.
I think what I might just do with these Galvo lasers is burn my logo on the base. That way, if I happen to mark it, it'll just kind of blend in with my logo.
So what I did is I must have changed something when I closed Lightburn, because this layer for the brass was the wrong settings. But I've gone back to the library and I found the brass coin blanks, and I selected the tan with the black border, and this is going to come out a tan color, exactly what it says, with a black border. And to cover those settings real quick, it is 3 layers. First layer is 800 speed, 70 power, 30 frequency, with a 45-degree angle. Second layer, same thing, negative 45-degree angle. And you know what? That didn't come out right either. Something happening with the brass. I'm going to run a different job on it and see what happens with that. I restarted Lightburn, and all of these worked yesterday, and they don't today for some reason, which is crazy. I'm just trying a different layer, a different setting in my library.
I've talked to a few other folks that have Raycus lasers, and I haven't been able to narrow down the problem, but sometimes I have to disconnect the USB and then plug it back in, because
And it works better?
Lightburn will, for some reason, the power output to my Raycus will just drop. And, I'll be running, like I was doing 50 knives in a row, and every once in a while, it would just barely even mark.
Really?
Like, well, I've got to unplug the USB, plug it back in, and then run it again, and then it's fine.
Okay,
So
I'm going to give
there's
that a try.
something that happens with that Raycus, and I'm not sure if it happens on the other wattage or lasers, but I've saw it happen with myself and a couple other 50 watts.
Well, that's good to know. I'm going to actually give that a try when this job is finished, because that is not how it's supposed to come out. It's pretty close. Let me give that a try. So I'm going to, should I turn off the machine?
No, I just unplug the USB and plug it back in.
Oh, I can't even find the USB on this one. There's so many wires.
In that case, yeah, you can turn it off and back on.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where let me turn it off. Actually, if I pull this out, this has a USB that I can disconnect from the back and plug it back in. There we go. I'll do that. Turn it back on. See if that works. So just to check that, what I'm going to do is just flip this over. Just check my focus again. Yeah, the focus is right. It may have been off just a hair. So let's check it and see. You might be right. I hope you're right, Patrick. And by the way, my focus is only those 2 dots. It's not that 3rd dot. We're going to run that same exact job and see if that unplugging that made a difference. Oh, that made a big difference. Look at that. You're right, Patrick.
Yeah, it's just some weird glitch with Raycus Source and Lightburn. And
I am happy to know.
I haven't been able to do a Wireshark to catch it and get the data to to the Lightburn team,
Mm-hmm.
but I really want to be able to catch it one of these days so that
Yeah.
they're able to see it and take a look.
All right. So this is not really the job I wanted to run. So let me close that and let me put the job I wanted to run on that layer, which is the tan with the black border. There we go. And we'll just run this again. In fact, what I'm going to do, this is just a black. I'm going to stop it. And I'm going to go put another coin on, another blank.
To see the dramatic difference in the
Yeah.
power output.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
glad. See, well, you know what? Learn something every day. And this is the reason why, one of the reasons I collaborate with Patrick, you know, because he knows this stuff and I don't. So that was a good find. This was how I was hoping it would come out, like that one right there. That's the one I did yesterday. And I have a couple of different settings, as you can see on those two.
Yeah, yep. And you can see the nice black line around the edges.
Yeah. So let's give this one a shot and see how this one works. Now that we've replugged. Oh, man, you're a genius, Patrick.
Immediate difference.
Immediate. Now that is the same layer it was on originally that didn't mark it at all, if you remember.
Yep.
Okay, so that is so good to know. That's a problem. Well, now I've ruined the surprise because you've already seen the final result on the right side there. And a lot of people are probably saying, why are you taking so long on this? You know, you can probably do that in one pass. Maybe you can. But I want to get a really clean. I'm doing several passes on here because I want it really clean and I want it really defined. So, and this is my final.
You're only working with a 20-watt Raycus.
Right, exactly. So, how does that look? I mean,
that looks nice.
You really can't tell in the stream how good this looks. And I am going to go back to, in Lightburn, I'm going to go back to my friend's coin and bring this back onto the screen because I really want you to see how this one turns out. So hang on and I will get that set up and get it started.
Let's see, Steve had a question about your two layers, one at 45 and the next at negative 45 on the two different layers. He would say that since you're using a crosshatch, can you simply increase the number of passes on the first layer?
Well, you can answer that, but I get different results if I increase the number of passes.
Yeah, you could. If you set it at negative 45, it starts from the opposite side, I guess is the best way to describe it. So running it in reverse. So
Yep.
you can get different results. I like to use multiple passes and sometimes not crosshatch and just use the auto rotate so that it's just going at some random angle every time it runs.
Right.
When I'm doing a real multi-layer deep engraving, but for something that's more on the surface like this, you really don't have to do multiple layers and rotate angles. But by running it in reverse, like he has it set up, you can get a little different sheen and result on the surface.
So what do you think about that? That is a lucky coin. This is going to be a giveaway to people in a store that spend more than $50. I don't know what all the details are, but they'll get this coin and they can come in on 1 day a month on the first of the month to redeem them. And that will be a contest where they'll put all of them into a box and shake it up and have one of the customers pick out one coin. And on the back of each coin, they just take a Sharpie and write the person's name. So they're going to be giving these away at the store for a contest that they run every month. I think that looks really cool. So let's move on. You know what? Before we move on to that, I want to talk about it for a moment. So let's see. I got to get this off the screen. And let me put Patrick back up on the screen. Hey, Patrick. I wanted to talk about this guy right here. So these are very popular in the YouTube community. And these are just little whiskey flasks, alcohol flasks. And in doing my testing, so I used a few of these to test. And that, I think, is one of my final nicest looking results right there. But I found something out that was really interesting during my testing, is that I can engrave over things and change things. I found out that I can change the entire color of the steel and then engrave something in white on top of that. Yep. Isn't that cool? So what I would do, I wouldn't do it like this. You know, I was just trying to clean the surface here, and I noticed the slight, because you can see the other things that I have on here. See them? Mm-hmm. I wanted to do just a cleaning on it, and I noticed that it turned yellow, and then I did another cleaning, and it turned white, and I finally found that gold color, and I was like, wow, that is just fantastic. And then I engraved something on top.
That's a technique I use for photos on steel, is to run the cleaning passes.
Yeah.
Let me let it block my eyes. Run the cleaning passes.
Wow, that
so
looks
that
like
you get the nice
bright
background, and then run your steel black setting for your photo right on the steel. So, and then you can do collars. Let's see. You get it right. You can see, well,
I see the blue.
The reflection. Yeah, but my logo on the back is blue and gold.
Yeah, I see the blue. Yeah. So let me show you some of the testing that I did. I just took, you saw the little circles in Lightburn earlier. I just put those little circles on here and went to my library and started changing the frequencies. And you can see top and bottom, I got all different colors, right? And I have another one where I got even more. I especially like the green, and I especially like the brown. And what you see on YouTube, though, is only this. You know, you always see people doing just this, just removing the black color. And I wanted to get more colors on here and do something, you know, extravagant. Well, we're not going to do anything extravagant today, but what we are going to do is we are going to do a flask.
I want to add on to your circle technique. If you make those circles overlap, you can actually combine the colors and see what two different settings will give you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a little technique that I like to use just to test settings.
Yeah. That's what I was doing with this one. I was overlap. I have a whole bunch of things behind it, and just doing different passes to see how they'd come out. And yeah, that's a better idea, is to do it with the circles. I'm gonna use that tip, Patrick. So coming back to Lightburn, over here in Lightburn, the next thing that we're going to do, and you'll see that these are on all different layers. So you can see I've got a whole bunch of different layers in here, preset from these settings over here. And the next thing that we're going to do, let me move this description back up and get this out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is what I just showed you. We'll do this flask. So we'll put that in the middle, press the P key on the keyboard, and let's take a look real quick at the settings for that. Let me find that one. That's the one right there. if we take a look at the settings on this one, I wound up with 5,000 millimeters a second, 98% power, 80 frequency with a 2000 LPI. And on the second pass, and I did this one in a 0 scan angle. This one I did in a crosshatch, the second layer, 8,000, 98, 80, same, everything the same, but in a 45-degree angle flood fill. So these were the best settings that I found to get the results that I wanted. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to, we're going to go back, let's see, we're going to go back to this one here. So let's go solo here. Let's come to the laser and light that up. And let me make sure that I've got this right before I do this. Okay. And now all I'm going to do is just drop on the flask itself. And we will get this started. So these are pretty easy to line up. And, you know, I know that if you watch Patrick's videos, he's got all these elaborate jigs and everything. For this video, I'm not really concerned with getting everything lined up and positioned properly. I'm more concerned with just doing an example and showing you what the results are. And really, this is all about my learning process, my learning curve. So with that all set up now, I'm just going to hit start. And these were the best settings that I found. And I know they sound kind of odd, but there are like little anomalies in this particular type of stainless. And this is not a 304 stainless. So I wanted to make sure that I got rid of all of those anomalies. And this took quite a few tests to get it right.
I have a flask here. I'll show once this is done.
Why don't you? Yeah, why don't you do one? Hey, sure. I got an idea. Hey, everybody in the comments, Patrick, are you watching the comments?
Yeah.
Everyone in the comments, if you want to see something in particular made, post a comment, and we'll do that for you live. Does that sound okay, Patrick? Are you up for that?
Sure, I'm down for a challenge.
While I'm doing my testing, you can do a viewer request.
I'd made a logo for another YouTube channel, and now I did some flasks for them because their channel is Bourbon Country Reacts. They react to bourbon and country music because they're metal fans and they like bourbon.
Right.
So I did their logo, and now I'm going to sell some flasks for them. But I think that all turned out pretty good. I was just going to show that. But
yeah,
if anybody wants me to engrave something on any particular substrate material, I'll see what I can do. We'll do a viewer's choice, whichever gets the most votes or something.
Yes, Dave, you can. Well, I can anyway. Dave is asking if we can make these on a 10-watt diode laser. It will take a long time. I would say probably, 30, 35 minutes, something like that. But yeah, that is definitely the process.
So what you're doing with your setting is basically erasing the look of the grain in the steel, so you have a nice even surface.
Yeah, I'm creating a new look of the grain in the steel. So I watched the videos on YouTube, and yeah, I can do this in 25 seconds, no question about it. I mean, I can just do one pass really quickly and do it in 25 seconds, and you have the look of the steel that's underneath it. But what I'm doing is more, I guess you might call it brushed aluminum look to the steel. So giving it a completely different look than just removing the coating. And there you go. How does that look?
It looks clean. Yeah, just a slight resurfacing. Hey, guys, I want to mention Rich's fume extraction. If you notice, all the smoke from that powder coat burning off was sucked right down into his laser bed. He has a hole cut for his ductwork in the bottom of his table, and then the laser bed is setting on the table, but sealed around the edges with foam. So all that suction is coming through those threaded holes, and that's where his fumes and most of the dust is going to go. Which is a really cool idea. I like it.
I hope you weren't talking to me because I was in the back setting that part. When I'm back there, I can't hear anything.
Nope, I was telling them about your fume extraction.
Oh. Well, this particular, this fume extraction is from the bottom, and I absolutely love it. Now, I do have, Patrick did send me an air assist kit, but I haven't hooked that up yet because I've just been too busy. But what I'm going to do now is, but I will eventually hook that up. What I'm going to do now.
Version 2, it's better.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now is my dog tag, and let me show you real quick the dog tag. So this is it right here. All I did was take that dog tag you just saw on the screen, and I measured the square part of it, and then I measured the outer circles, and I just drew a couple of tool paths on here, and now I know where to position my my graphics. And I just used a couple of SpongeBob graphics and some fake stuff here, but this is the actual dog tag that we're going to do now. That dog tag is on, let me click on it so I can find the layer. Which one is lit up here? I can't see because the StreamYard overlay is right over those layers. I'll find it over here. That one right there. That's it. Yep, 18. It's lit up over here. So let's take a look at this one. This is just a crosshatch fill at 45-degree angle, 1500 millimeters a second, 90% power, 50 kilohertz. So, and I don't know why the angle increment is at 37. I'm going to put that back to 0. So that's the settings for this layer right here. And we should be ready to frame and run. So let me switch back over. And put this one back on the screen. And I'll come back to Lightburn and hit my frame right here. And basically, I can use any of the frames, the hull, the contour. The hull works pretty good because it lets me know where the outside graphics are. Or I can use the contour to see exactly where they are. But I kind of like the hull for this.
I use hull a lot.
Yeah.
It's very handy.
But I am going to check all of them, and it's really odd that it would be in the right spot just by me putting it down on the bed. So I think it needs to move over just a bit like that. And that, I think, is going to be the right spot. Right there. Looks good. So let's run this shot.
Army dogs, you could use the camera to trace the dog tag. You just have to make sure your camera is aligned and calibrated. Otherwise, your measurements could be a little off.
Or you could take a photograph, as long as your camera is level, and bring that photo in and scan it, and then just make one size, either the width or the height. Put that to the width or the height of the dog tag, and both of them will be sized perfectly.
The Raycus JPT MOPA, what's the difference? Okay, Raycus and JPT are brand names. Those are the manufacturers. MOPA is the way the laser is switched on and off. So you'll have a regular fiber laser, and then you'll hear people refer to a MOPA fiber laser or MOPA laser. They're all fiber lasers. It's just the way they're switched on and off. You can be Q switch or MOPA switched, and MOPA allows an additional adjustment in your settings.
So real quickly, I want you to see that came out a little differently than it did yesterday with my settings, and I'm thinking that there is a good chance that something again changed on this setting. So I'm going to go back to in Lightburn, I'm going to go back to my dog tags. Let's see, business code dog tags. Nope, that's not the right one. We'll find it. Steel coin bags. No. I have a lot of stuff in here thanks to Patrick, so it's take me a minute to find it. Has anybody given a suggestion?
I haven't saw any suggestions yet.
Okay.
They do have a couple camera questions. I thought I'd just show them a real quick demo.
Okay.
Just of the camera.
Let me take this out of off the screen here.
Let me get a
Hang on one
dog
second.
tag. All right, here we go. And let's see, let's go to Lightburn. Sorry about that. Let's switch it right here. All right, there we go. Should be the right screen now. All right. So I'm going to update my overlay from my Lightburn camera. And now I have a little brass dog tag there on the screen. You have to have, to get a good scan, you need to be in focus. So let me make sure I'm in focus. I'll update the overlay again. Now we'll see that change. So I like to set whatever I want to trace on a white background, then hit trace, and then zoom in, select which area you want traced, adjust your points. So I normally fade image, hit show points, and then just like that, you can get a decent outline of your dog tag. Just that simple. But this is a camera that I have calibrated within Lightburn that's mounted to the galvo head. And that's it. That's simple. But the main thing is to have your camera aligned and calibrated. And you can use any USB camera. It doesn't have to be a Lightburn camera. I prefer a manual focus camera. I will say that, because if it's not quite in focus on your material, your overlay is not going to be perfectly lined up. But I do have a video on my channel that is a complete Lightburn galvo camera install and alignment guide, and it works for any laser, really.
Yeah, I've got one on my channel too. So both of us have those videos. It might be best to watch both of them. You know, I am not finding my dog tag. Patrick sent me so many different materials here. I'm not finding it. So I'm just going to try the other side. And this could have something to do with what happened earlier. I don't know. Maybe I need to plug and unplug again. because I did have that layer set, and you know, you can see in the camera the difference in the results. This one did not come out the way I was expecting. So maybe I need to check the layers and make sure they're all turned on, although I know it is.
Once you calibrate your camera, and that is calibrating the lens, that calibration you'll keep. Then for each lens, you have to do an alignment. So once the camera is aligned for each lens, then Lightburn will calculate, you know, what it needs to do to make everything flat, and that's what you'll save. So calibrate it for each lens, align it, export those settings and save them in case it doesn't swap every time you switch devices. It should, but sometimes it might not. So make sure you export those settings immediately after calibrating and aligning for that particular lens. Let's see, link to my channel. Yes, I can drop a link there.
I've got that down on the bottom of the screen there. I'm just running something different. And guess what? It did lose the settings. So that is the way it's supposed to come out right there. That's much better, don't you think? I don't know what happened. I guess when I closed Lightburn, something I lost some of the settings or whatever. But that is exactly the way it came out yesterday. And all I did was reapply the settings. Come on now. All I did was reapply the settings to the layer. So that's kind of weird. All right, so with those done, let me get those out of the way. I'm going to switch to a name tag.
So I had a question about watts from 20 to 100 watt. Like Rich's 20 watt laser, it has a very low peak pulse power, and then of course it's only going to output 20 watts. When a Raycus 50 watt has a higher peak pulse power, and you're getting the 50 watts out of it. Most of the jobs that I do, I can do with my 50 watt Raycus. It is just fine. And it is, you would think it as the budget laser source. It costs less than a JPT. Normally, 50 watt JPT versus a Raycus, you probably save about $1,000 on the Raycus. And it works great. Raycus used to get a bad rep, but they improved
years ago
dramatically over the last probably 5 years, and they're just fine. They do great. So you can start with the 50 watt Raycus, or you could go higher and get a MOPA laser, because once you get into the higher wattages, you're getting into the MOPA categories. They do make a 30 watt MOPA, but again, you're not going to have power to do a lot of things that people typically end up wanting to do. So you're better off to just buy a higher wattage laser source to begin with, and instead of not having enough power and realizing I should have got something a little more powerful. So at least get a 50. 60 watt is a MOPA JPT. They make an 80 and a 100 and I think a 120. I have a 50 watt Raycus and an 80 watt JPT MOPA fiber sitting here, and I did 50 knives last week, and I used the Raycus. I'm more familiar with it. It's not as new to me as the 80 watt, and I knew exactly what I was going to get, and it did a fine job doing a deep engrave. It deep engraves coins. It'll do anything. So basically, it's what does your budget allow.
Did you notice what just happened? I started the job without peeling off the plastic. on the front of this name badge. So when you do that, first off, it makes the plastic. Okay, so this name badge is ruined. I got to get a different one. It just doesn't work. The plastic gets melted, and
Fuses it right to the name badge.
It just doesn't engrave. So that's my mistake. I do that all the time with these things because you can't even notice that they have a plastic cover on them. But I did notice the minute I heard that sound of plastic burning. So I'm just going to put a new one on. These are Romark name tags, by the way. They are very cheap. I get them at jpplus.com, and you could do a bunch of these. They also have Air Force, Navy, certified sizes and all that kind of stuff. And this is just doing a name tag. So what you're doing is you're lasering off the top layer of plastic and revealing the plastic that's below it, which is white. And you can change that color to gold, gray, yellow, brown, any color, pretty much any color that you want with a little testing. So that's the beauty of this. And this is also something that you can't do on the CO2 or on the diode, is change the color at all. So you see, you can get multiple colors with these. I chose gold for this demonstration, and you can clearly see that's a white second layer.
Another thing that the fibers can do really fast is the JDS leatherette patches. Yes. And everything JDS makes in leatherette. Fibers are awesome for doing that leatherette really quick and with high detail.
Thank you, Terry. We appreciate you being here for sure. That's why we do this. I think, Patrick, you already answered this question, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, yes, if your laser supports it, you can change the frequency between 1,000 and 20,000 on the diode laser, but not many of them support it. So the Rolly Lasermatic does, but you can't do that like with an X tool or something like that.
How do you change the frequency on the Lasermatic?
In the console,
the firmware, or?
Yeah, it's in the console. It's on the settings on the control board.
Okay, so you can do that right from Lightburn.
Yeah, do it right from Lightburn.
Yep. That's
okay.
Awesome.
Can you explain aiming the laser? Okay, let me cover this one more time in case you weren't here. So this job that I just did here, if I hit frame like that, now I can, on my keyboard, if I move in Lightburn now, if I move the left arrow, tap the left arrow, I can move it off to the left, or I can move it to the right, and it's moving the graphic on the workspace is what it's doing. Okay, so that also moves the framing. You can move it up and you can move it down. Okay, so now you can also go into your settings in Lightburn, your general settings, and change the amount that this moves. So now I have it set 1 millimeter with my up and down, left and right arrows. If I hold control, 0.5 millimeter, as you can see. So that's how you adjust the framing. And I want to say that this is the best and safest way to frame is if you have an auxiliary camera plugged into your computer and you put that camera up on a second screen, if you can, because it's really safe and it's really precise. So I cannot see that red line very well over at the laser, but I can see it really clearly on the second camera. And that's the way I'll do any jobs that are paid, because you want to make sure that they're perfect. Okay, so let's get this guy off of Lightburn.
And what he's talking about is just using a camera attached to your laser and showing it on a big screen, not being calibrated through Lightburn. And you can do that
right,
with any camera.
right, exactly.
And
So,
I believe you're using like a narrow focus camera that gives you a nice close up.
Yeah, I have a close-up camera. Let me get this one off. And I wish you could see this in person. It's a beautiful gold, and you can see that it's white underneath. And let's see. I thought I got this from JP Plus. This came from scottmachinecorp.com, which may have supplied them to JP Plus. So, and it does have to be cleaned, wiped down. So let's get these off of here. Let's put this one somewhere in the middle and set the focus. And I've got my next project on the Lightburn workbed, which is going to be that same Louisiana one that we did earlier on the small coin, except we're going to be doing a larger coin. A larger coin. That's a good one. So we're doing a larger version of it. What made me say coin?
When it comes to... Oh, go ahead.
Nope, you go first.
I'll answer the question while that's running.
Okay, put the question up on the screen for the replay.
Do fiber lasers do any cutting or strictly engraving? A galvo fiber laser can cut, but remember the beam is originating at the center and is going to go to the outer edges of what you're cutting. So what you're cutting is going to be at an angle. So not what you're cutting, but the cut line will be at an angle just because of the angle of the fiber laser beam itself. Plus, you'll have the shape of the beam at the focus spot that also adds an additional curve. So you're not going to get a straight cut edge like you would with a plasma CNC or water jet or a laser cutter CNC. So that's just one thing you have to keep in mind. So normally, if you're doing jewelry, like Army Dogs mentioned, that's not an issue. And I've cut 1/4-inch steel and cut out holes to run some bolts through, and that's typically not an issue as long as your cuts kerf's offset big enough that you can get your bolt through. But it is going to have some sort of angle to it.
And you might be wondering why I'm running this so slow and with the settings that I have on this. And the reason why is because I want to get some depth to the engraving. So this one will take a few minutes to do. And yes, you can. If you want to just do a white engrave, you can do that really quickly. But, I've done, like I said, I showed Patrick the other day about a dozen different slate tiles. You remember that, Patrick?
Yep.
With different settings. And this one I thought came out the best, even though it takes the longest. So time is not a concern for me, but getting the result that I want is. And
here's an example of a thick piece cut with a galvo laser. Okay. This was cut with my CO2 galvo. That's 1/2-inch acrylic. So you can see the angle that circle was cut out for that thick piece of acrylic. So it's not straight.
Yeah.
Although for this purpose, it did just fine. I did a 3D engraving with the CO2 galvo on acrylic, and it looks great. But if you were needing something cut precise this thick, it's not going to work unless.
Well, it would take a lot of tuning of the laser.
Yeah, you'd have to go back and grind the edges to make them straight.
Yeah.
Now they do make fiber lasers that cut metal, and that's what they're designed for. They're on a gantry, and the beam's pointed straight down.
Yeah, Patrick's got one. What's that? What's the video that you did where you cleaned off the old steel with that beast of a laser?
Yes, it's the 1,000 watt 3-in-1 cleaner, cutter, and welder. And
1,000 watts.
Yeah, and they make them higher wattage as well, but it has a 1,000 watt Raycus source, and you can use it to clean metal. I'm actually working on a trailer, and I've cut the fenders off with it. So now I'm going to switch it to cleaning mode and clean all the rust and paint off of it. And then once that's done, I'm going to weld new fenders onto the trailer. It's just a pull behind utility trailer, but I'm going to do a whole series on it.
Now, as you can see, like I said earlier, this particular project is taking some time, but I've done it on a couple of different types of slate, and I want to get the deep engraving on this, and that's why this is taking so long. To give you an idea of the settings on this one is just one layer at 2000 LPI with a scan angle of 45 degrees and a crosshatch. This has a lot of fine detail in it, and I wanted not only to take off the top, but I wanted it to go deep into the slate. And this will eventually get a triple coat glaze over the top of it, so it will be perfectly smooth on top, the finished product, and it will also bring out the color, and that engraving will be deep, and it'll have like a 3D look to it when you look at it. So there is method behind my madness, you might say.
I was looking to see if I could find my slate coaster. I thought I had it around here somewhere.
Hey, if you guys want to see something done on the fly, just put it in the comments.
Oh yeah, here's one of my slate coasters.
Hang on one second. Let me get this set at full screen. All right. Oh yeah, that's awesome. That now you're talking about a lot of time there, and that would be a perfect acrylic project as well, an acrylic fill on that.
Yep, and then yeah, similar to like this coin, the 3D engraving.
Yep, that's beautiful. That might be the next one. If you guys are enjoying this stream, you know, I'll be able to tell by the super thanks, by the number of people watching, by the donations and all that. Well, maybe we'll do a series of these fiber videos, Patrick and I, on the channel.
I'm looking up the info for that question right there.
Okay, so Patrick can answer this.
I pulled up the manual for that laser from Raycus, and let's see. Let me just flip over.
I really don't think going lower will damage the source. We just had this conversation yesterday, Patrick and I.
Let's see. Pulse repetition rate. It's saying it's only going to function between 40 and 60. And you can tune it from 10 to 100% power. So 40 and 60.
And that was the P30QS. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it puts out your maximum power frequency would be 40 kilohertz, because that's when you're going to get your highest peak pulse, single pulse energy. But yeah, it looks like between 40 and 60 is where you need to be. If you operate outside of that, the laser will cut back the wattage that it is outputting. So it will cut power back in that respect itself to basically protect the source. It's programmed in that it will drop its power output just so it doesn't get damaged. But that's from the manufacturer saying that it will operate between 40 and 60.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? Were you talking to me?
No, I was just saying that the manufacturer says between 40 and 60 is the operational frequency range. Let's see. How long did the 3D coaster take? That's a good question.
Put that up on screen so people that so everybody can see it. Oh, here it is. All right, so that's finished, and when that is cleaned off now, all I have to do is just scrub that a little bit and then glaze it. That did not come out, and again, I might need to replug it again. I don't know, but that did not come out like I expected, and I'm not quite sure what that is. Dave, that triple coat is Rust-Oleum triple coat. Rust-Oleum triple coat glaze. It is the best coating on the market, in my opinion.
I found some of that at Lowe's last week.
Yeah, I get mine on Amazon, but Lowe's has it too.
The cleaning laser I have is made by Noah Laser, Noualaser, and it's a 1,000 watt Raycus source that has in the cabinet has the built-in SNA chiller, industrial chiller. But it seems to be working very well thus far.
Okay, that one is done, and we're going to move on to the stainless steel luggage tag. Is the next one. I hope everybody's enjoying this. This took quite a while to set up. Setting up all these graphics and everything. All right, so let me frame this one. And this one I have to go, because I can't really see it in the camera, I have to go take a look. This one's very hard to see with the camera because it reflects it off of it. And I don't like reflective surfaces, even looking at the framing. And if I put my glasses on, I can't see it. And hopefully these layers are going to be right, because that coaster didn't come out right. So this is the luggage tag, the stainless steel luggage tag done in white. I did it in black. It was kind of hard to read, so I decided to go with white instead. So this is what we're doing right now, is this luggage tag. Now the settings on this one, let me find them real quick. So I've got one layer on this one. It is a crosshatch. It is not bidirectional fill. I've got the lines per inch at 2000, scan angle at 45 degrees, and the speed is 2000 speed. The power is 95%, and the frequency is 80 kilohertz. So those are all of the settings for this. This is 304 polished stainless steel luggage tags. Chris says that the Rust-Oleum is available at Bunnings. I don't know. And thank you, Steve. Steve put in a link to the triple glaze. I also have that in my Amazon store in the description below my my videos. Thank you, Dave. I'm glad you like it. Okay, so there is the luggage tag. And I wanted to quickly show you. So let me get this out of full screen. Let me bring me over here. Now I have another luggage tag here, and that QR code that's in the top corner, and the lighting in here really does a job on this. If I can get this in the right spot, my overhead lighting puts a bad reflection on this, but the QR code actually works. And when I'm doing the luggage tags, let me do this in a darker area here without the overhead lights. And you know I'm not going to get this to work live. Let's see, this is the spot I did yesterday. I did it right here yesterday, so. I know it works. I did it 3 times in a row. But, oh, I need it to be like down here. But when I do the QR codes, I go to, I think it's QR code monkey, and I put in the, I have it set up where, and of course it's not going to do this live. These lights just distort it, make it hard to read. And I can't seem to, no matter what I do, I can't get the light off of the card. And my phone doesn't want to focus on it, so keeps focusing on my door. I'll try it in the dark, see what happens down here.
Now, do you guys use the QR code generator in Lightburn to make your QR code?
Never mind. No, that's a basic QR code generator. It doesn't do anything but create a basic code. The QR monkey, what it does, I put in the different parameters. I put in the person's phone number. I put in the text message, you know, what it says. So when you scan the code, it opens up your app for text messages, and it pre-fills out the message. I have found your luggage. Please call me at, and it puts the person's telephone number in there. All they have to do is hit send. So scan, send, and they've sent a text message out to the customer. I'm going to do a whole video on that. But for right now, let me move to,
That's very cool.
Let me move to the next one. Get this up out of the way. And I'm going to bring my my business card in.
What sort of maintenance is there with the fiber laser? Cleaning. Oops, didn't mean to do that. There it is. Cleaning your lenses. That's the biggest maintenance you'll have with the fiber laser.
Every day. Every day. So let me come back over here so I can see this better. And this one I also will need to frame in person because of the black. So
this is the fiber laser lens right here. So this is a lens with the lens caps on. This is the main part of the lens that will be focusing your laser beam. And then this is the outer protective lens that you see hanging out of the gobbo head. But just making sure that this protective lens is clean. That's the largest amount of maintenance that you will have with a fiber laser. All right.
So I can't really see this with those lights on. I had to turn the lights off. So we're going to run this. And these are actual real. This is actually a friend of mine. So if you want to know what these settings are, let's see. These settings are going to be the same on the top left corner for the logo for the state of Texas as the stainless steel. And then I have another layer on here for the rest of the card. Let's see, that is the pink layer. And all of the text on here is at a speed of 1,000, one layer, 90% power, 50 frequency, 798, actually it's supposed to be 800 LPI, and a scan angle of 45 degrees in a crosshatch. And then the image on the bottom right that you see there, the State of Texas Parks and Recreation image, it has a separate pass on it to bring out the gold. That's the way their actual paper business cards look exactly like this. So this is a replica of their paper business cards. I'm surprised nobody wants to see something just off the cuff live.
I know.
So how to clean the lens. I mean, it's like cleaning any other laser. I use a non-abrasive. If you use isopropyl alcohol, don't use the stuff that's in your cabinet in your house. That's usually going to be 90 to 94%. Get 99% IPA. I use a different product to clean my lenses. It is called Purity Lens Cleaner on Amazon, and that is that is my favorite. This is Donnie asking this question. That's my favorite product is the Purity, because there are absolutely no abrasives in it. Now this logo here for Gonzales, Texas, is really intricate, really intricate. Now I use the thicker business cards for this, and this is a friend, so I don't charge him any profit. And that's not his real name on there. You know, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. But that is the actual card that I do for him. And there is, you can't see it in the camera, but there is a slight shading on the part that says Parks and Recreation. The top is pure white, the name and the position, and the bottom is pure white as well. And these do take a little more time. And then on the back of this, I also do an image, an actual state parks image on the back of the business card. So it's a really distinctive one. I second Dave V's request. What was okay? So here it is. Okay, live request: a photo on a slate coaster, please.
Photo on slate.
Yep, you got what you asked for, Patrick, and that one might take a little while.
I'll say that Dave threw out a big challenge there.
Yep.
What were you just talking about? Business cards. Yes, I like to do mine in 3 shades. I just think adds a little more pop than the standard.
And if you want to see something that's really fast, using tricolor, I did do a video on my channel, so you can go to my channel and I guess search for business and you'll see it. Maybe cards, search for cards, maybe search for fiber. But I did a complete one on fiber laser business cards in tricolor, 3 different colors, and they were fast. We're talking seconds to do the whole card, not like this one here.
That was for Army Dogs. He wanted to see multi shades on slate. So I'll put that up again.
Yeah, so you got 1, 2, 3 different colors there.
Yep.
I personally like the green. That's one of my favorites.
Let's see. All right, I'll try to do a photo on slate.
So we are like at the 90-minute mark right now. A little late for requests, but go ahead. You know, we get it started and see what Lightburn says the time is going to be. I didn't want to go too long today, but
See, I need to pull in a photo. I don't know what to do.
Oh, here you go. How about this?
A PMAG? I can
Yeah.
do that too.
Yeah, this video today was supposed to be PMAGs, by the way, but it turns out that my settings that Geo sent me did not work on the PMAGs that I have. So Patrick is sending me some new PMAGs. We will do one of those, but he wants to do a PMAG now.
I can do that.
One?
That'll be fast.
Yeah, let's do one now.
Given our time crunch.
Sure. Again, I want to thank everybody for being here today. We've had a consistent 45 to 50 viewers, which is great. And then, you know, lots of people are going to watch the replay. But if you like this video, don't forget, hit like down below the video. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. If you want to donate to the channel while we're live, you can, right below the comments, there is a little $sign. If you click on that, you can send a super chat or a special message. And down at the bottom of the screen, I've got my information for PayPal if you want to send a one-time donation. And I also have a Patreon website as well. So it's patreon.com/LA Hobby Guy. And if you need, you know, answers to your questions every day, you can sign up over there. I have 3 different levels of support. That's a monthly thing over there. I have about 500 active patrons right now. Let me put this up in full screen so people can see it a little better, Patrick.
Okay. All right. There's my PMAG template from the LMR, from the video that's on Laser Maker's Realm. Actually, here, just so you know, there's no tomfoolery. You know, that this is fresh out of the bag. Oh, that fresh PMAG smell. It's amazing. All right, let's see. What logo should I put in the middle of the PMAG? Any quick suggestions?
I don't know. How about something? How about a tattered U.S. flag or something like that?
I can do that.
Yeah, Dave. I'll actually be doing one of those with the diode laser, but with this whole battle of the 20 watts has just got me swamped with work, and it's turning. I don't think I'm going to do too many more laser reviews after this because I really don't enjoy that. So I want to get back to doing what you're asking for. You know, things that people can actually use and do every day, and I got to get through this battle of the 20 watts though, and that's just killing me as far as time is concerned. You know, I've got the assembly, I've got the testing, and I've had them all for, you know, a month or two now, and I've got to swap between lasers, and I can only run right now 2 at a time in the other shop. So, you know, I'm running all of the tests and putting hours on them, and I don't do these fluff reviews of lasers like most people do. So I get really in depth and put a lot of hours on them. So anyway, yeah, I will be getting back to regular videos soon, and I'll try and pop some in the meanwhile, maybe using, like I've been doing, using the lasers that I'm testing. I do have the new Lasermatic 20 on the way. That's going to be fun too. So that might be added to the last step.
No, that's not it.
And so you guys know, on the Laser Makers realm, we will be doing an upcoming Lasermatic video where the three of us are going to have the Lasermatic 10 doing different projects, and just showing you how easy it is to use and what a great job that it does. And I think I'm going to do some steel on that one as well. So there will be a triple challenge on the Laser Makers realm with all three of us using the Rolly Lasermatic.
Move my camera over. And I'll show this framing.
Chris is saying LMR logo was his suggestion. I kind of like that West Virginia one. 4th of July. Yeah, 4th of July is coming. Okay, well, he's got the West Virginia one on there now.
That one was quick, just in the interest of time.
Yeah, I really like that logo. I think that's very cool. And being that we're short on time, it's probably best to do as something that you can do as quickly as possible. And here comes the magic, folks.
Yeah, let's hope so.
These PMags are really magic, and I trust that you've got it set up right, Patrick.
I hope so. We'll see.
But we did find out that different manufacturers use different polymers. So, the PMags that I was using, that we were going to do an exclusive video on today, turned out to not engrave at all. So Patrick is sending me out some of his, and we'll see if we can't get that going. Well, I'm glad to shut everything down in here. It's so noisy.
It is. Let's see. I figured out the problem. I'm way too high. Oh, I'm just way too high. I need to get down and focus.
Focus, focus, focus.
Yep.
Look, if you don't focus, it doesn't work. That's just a fact with any laser. It doesn't matter what it is. And you have to focus accurately.
Just using my little 3D printed focal sticks. I like those.
Yeah, I like the two little red dots. That works really well for me. And
with my astigmatism, I see 4.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got that dialed in now. So, like I said, when I first started with this, oh, no, it's the 20 watt. Yeah. So, yeah, I can't wait to get the 20 watt. But all three of us will have the 10 watt before long. Not that we're going to be promoting it on the channel, but we are going to do one video where all three of us are using the Lasermatic 10. Yeah, I can't wait for the Lasermatic 20. And they do have the Lasermatic 40 in the works, and who knows what's going to come after that. I see that one manufacturer has already released a 50 and here's the magic right here. They've already released a 50 and they're planning on releasing an 80. So we'll see what happens. Of course, the higher wattage you get on these lasers, the less fine engraving you're going to get. One thing I like about the Lasermatic, the 20 watt that's coming out, not the one I'm getting, unfortunately, but the final version, I'm getting the beta version. The final version is going to have a switch on it to switch over to 10 watts between 10 and 20. So you can use your 20 for cutting and you can use your 10 for your fine engraving. And the 10 has a much smaller spot size. Fiber lasers are just magic, to me. The type of detail that they do and the speed. I mean, this is an incredible amount of detail in that logo there.
Yeah. Another one version that I did, I had a photo of the West Virginia Capitol that I had converted to a vector, and then engraved that on a whole PMag, and it just the detail was just amazing.
You know what? I was talking to Patrick about this, and I really couldn't find the brand on here. These were a wholesale deal that I got from.
Weren't they UTC?
I believe they were. Yes, they are UTC. I got these.
They might engrave. We just need more settings time testing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and not being able to get the settings right, you know, just weren't able to do that today.
Yep.
But look how beautiful this PMag, and I'll show you one that Patrick did for me when we're done. And look at the way those colors are just starting to pop now.
I don't remember what exactly they were set to. Some might have duplicates. But with PMags, typically the more passes you make with the lower power and fast speeds, the lighter the polymer will get in general. So that's not perfect. It should have had, looks like one setting got changed and I didn't have the gray in there. But, yeah, there's a little gray in there.
I think that just came out beautiful.
Yeah, that's not bad at all, actually. See it on camera.
All right, so let me show you real quick what Patrick did for me. So these are the PMags that he sent me, and he put my logo in 3 colors on the back. And these are the ones that I got. So these are slightly different, from the one that Patrick got. So different brand, different results in the material makeup. So I just wasn't able to get it to engrave at all, and I was able to get something out of Patrick's.
I got the Laser Maker's Realm one up there.
Oh, there you go. All right, so let's see. Minnesota Maker says, got his 50-watt fiber on the way. Can't wait to start using it. Congratulations. You're going to love it. Don't worry about that first learning curve. You'll get that. You'll get through that first learning curve. That first curve is going to be the worst, but you'll get through it. So here's everything that we did today, minus the flask. I couldn't get all of that in the picture, but these are just some of the things that you can do on a fiber laser, and I really think that having that fiber laser, as a different form of lasering. So now I've got the CO2, I've got 2 fibers, I've got a bunch of CO2s, a bunch of diode lasers, and you get all different results from the different machines on different materials. And you might want to, somebody that's really into the hobby might want to look into getting a fiber laser. I say, look at the source, pick a source that you want, Raycus JPT. If it were me, I would probably get a JPT 50 or higher. I don't know what Patrick would recommend, but that's what I would tell everybody because of the range of the frequency. So that's what you're looking for. With this Raycus, I am limited to 20 to 80 kilohertz. and with a JPT source, you know, I think it's like 20 to 4,000 or something like that.
The MOPAs are 1 to 4,000. Non-MOPAs are 1 to 600.
Okay, so the MOPA 1 to 4,000, so or 1 to 600. I mean, that's so much better than 20 to 80, and I really would like to get below that 20, you know, and I'm not able to do that with the Raycus. So I would, and there are several sources out there you can choose from. You can research all of them if you want, but my top pick from all of the videos that I've watched and all of the people that I know that have them and seeing the results that they get from them is the JPT source. So I'm going to stick with that. HTL Holsters has got a comment here. Different mag makers have different plastics. Yeah. So there are different polymers that they use. So you're going to get different results. And even in Patrick's library, he's even got different. He's got it separated out by manufacturer. So he does not have this manufacturer. So I am going to send him a couple of these, and that way he can work on some library settings for this manufacturer, make the library even more complete. When this library is complete, maybe in 6 or 8 months or whatever, like I did with the Lasermatic 10 or the 10-watt diode laser, I'm going to release my copy of it in my store for $8. And, you know, it's going to have a few hundred hours of testing and work put into it, and lots of expense in materials and time and everything else. It'd be the best $8 you ever spent in your life. And then when Patrick releases his, I think he's going to be selling his as well. So, and then Geo is doing a bunch of conversions. So, you know, we think that we're really going to get these dialed in, and it'll be a big step up for you folks that have fiber lasers already. So anyway, yep. I hope you all enjoyed the live today. Thank you, Patrick, so much for being on the channel. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And if you guys have not been to Patrick's channel, you know, I'll put the link right down below here. I'll put it in the link of the description on the video replay as well. It is youtube.com/@LSE Engraving and lightsource.pro. And then he's got the Discord, which would take forever for me to read and say.
Yeah. Or you can find me on Facebook under Lightsource Engraving, or my personal, quote, professional mode profile. Yeah. So I'm there.
Patrick, we're going to do a redirect for that Discord. So I'll do a link for that Discord that, you know, is much better. Like maybe I'll do something like lightsource.pro /Discord, you know, to make it easy. And I'll see if I can do that today for you, and we can get that URZTX with all the caps and lowercase. Get rid of that.
Well, yeah, just make it Laser Maker's Realm.
Yeah, Discord. I can do that too. Yep. Okay, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining today, and I want to say, if you like this video, make sure you like it. Make sure you comment. I try and answer all the comments that I possibly can, and if you know other people that like it, share it, you know, on your Facebook or Twitter or whatever. So thank you for being here. And if we get enough feedback from this video, maybe we'll do a series of fiber laser videos. What do you think, Patrick?
I'm down. That sounds fun to me.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.